Yes, friends, welcome back. Now, the next topic after the definitions is to understand what is meant by sale and what is meant by agreement to sell. So, simple definition and simple understanding. The key is ownership transfer. When is the ownership getting transferred? If the ownership is getting transferred immediately, then we call it as a sale transaction. However, if the sale, or rather if the transaction allows to interpret things where the intention appears to be that the transfer of ownership was intended to be done at a future date, then subject to certain conditions, then we call it as agreement to sell. So what is it all about? Summary is basically when there is an immediate transfer of ownership, we call it as sale. But when there is a future transfer of ownership subject to satisfaction of conditions mentioned in the contract, then we call it as agreement to sell. Let us see the differences between sale and agreement to sell given under the Sale of Goods Act 1930. As a matter of fact, I've already told you, rather than writing each and every point while explaining, it makes life simpler for you and me. That first I put all things on bullet points and continue to explain. Let's see. Sale. Property passes from the seller to the buyer along with the risk. What do you mean by the risk? I told you, once the ownership is transferred, whatever happens to the particular goods, the seller is no more responsible for it. The buyer becomes responsible. That is the risk. Of course, he enjoys the product, which is called rewards. That is why I keep mentioning, when risks and rewards are being transferred, then only the conclusion of sale has happened. So, property passes on from the seller to the buyer along with the risk. Second point, it is an executed contract. What do you mean by an executed contract? A contract where consideration is already paid. A contract where consideration is already paid is called executed contract. Next comes the third point, where a seller can sue the buyer only for money. A seller can sue the buyer only for the money. Reason, buyer is already the owner now. He can't take back the goods. Seller cannot ask the buyer to give back the goods. He can only ask for money. If the buyer is not giving money, then the seller can go to the court and file a case on the buyer to recover only the money part of the goods and not the goods as such. So seller can sue the buyer only for money, as the buyer is the new owner now. All the risks and rewards have been transferred to the buyer. So the possession, rights, general property, specific property, whatever it is, special property, whatever it is, it belongs to the buyer. Now the only course of action for the seller to against the buyer is only to recover money by way of filing a suit. Once the property is passed on, the buyer becomes liable for any subsequent loss or destruction of goods. This is the risk part. This is the reverse part of it. Now, once the property passes, the ownership passes from the seller to the buyer, the new owner is the buyer. So anything happens to the goods by way of a subsequent loss, let's say the ownership is immediately transferred and the goods are being loaded onto the lorry, the risk related to the loss while the goods were in transportation, the liability has to be borne by the buyer. Seller is no more responsible for it because it is already an executed contract. More fully, it is a contract of sale where risk and rewards is already being transferred, which means any subsequent loss or any destruction of the goods, the seller is no more responsible. The buyer has to be liable for such goods, which means in case there was a transportation of the goods, for example, in a lorry, and the lorry met with an accident and all the goods is destroyed, buyer cannot say to the seller, goods is destroyed, so I can't pay the money to you. Keep this in mind, my dear friends. Subsequent loss or destruction of the goods, the liability will be on the buyer and not the seller because ownership is already transferred. However, when we come to the fifth point, you will see the advantage of the seller. In case, the buyer, though the previous point put a liability clause on the buyer, the fifth point allows the buyer to get two benefits in case the seller breaches the contract. What do you mean by breach of contract? I'll give you an example. Suppose the buyer has already paid the money to the seller and transfer of ownership has already happened from the seller to the buyer. Here, if the seller breaches, that means if the seller cancels the contract for whatsoever reasons, maybe he sold the goods again to someone else, in such cases, then what will happen? That is, if the seller breaches the contract, buyer has two remedies, two solutions. What is that? Suit for damages against the seller, can file for damages against the seller. In our Contract Act, we have discussed already about what are the different types of damages, starting from ordinary damages, then special damages, then punitive damages, extraordinary damages. All those things will come into picture. That means a buyer can file a case on the seller to recover damages from the seller. And second biggest advantage, kindly watch this, it is very, very important, recovery of goods from the third parties who bought them. That means if this seller has done a second sale of the particular goods to some other third party also, since the ownership is already transferred from the seller to the buyer being the new owner, the new third party who has already taken delivery of the goods or paid the price, doesn't matter. The buyer can go and recover the goods from that third party. Now what happens to the third party is secondary issue. The third party can file a case against the seller for having cheated him. A fraud case can be booked on him, and that is a secondary issue, irrelevant topic for us. As of now, what I meant is the buyer has two remedies. One is he can file a case for damages, whichever damages it could be an ordinary damage or a punitive damage or a special damage if the contract says so, and he can recover the goods from third party. Biggest advantage. I hope you have understood what is the main points of sale. Similarly, I have some main points for agreement to sell. Then we will see the differences between sale and agreement to sell. First point, in agreement to sell, property has not yet passed from the seller to the buyer. That means it is only an agreement that I so and so, you so and so, we are entering into an agreement that I am interested to buy your product, you are interested to give money. Correct. When I enter into an agreement to sell, that is as a buyer, I have not assumed the risk and rewards. That means ownership is not yet transferred. That's what it says. Property, general property has not yet passed from the seller to the buyer. That is, risk is also, therefore the risk is also not yet passed. Now, you use your logic and tell me who is going to be held liable if there is a loss of destruction of goods in the case of agreement to sell. Obviously, it should be seller. That's exactly what I put in the fourth point. Subsequent loss or destruction of goods, seller is liable, not the buyer, because ownership is not yet transferred. As simple as that. Come back to the second point. Second point says the contract is executory in nature. That means it is yet to be completed. Something more has to be done. Only when such thing is done, then only the completion of the contract happens, which means executory contract refers to consideration is yet to be paid or to be paid at the future date. So in the future I am going to pay. As of now I am not yet paid, therefore it is executory in nature. Coming to the third point, aggrieved party. What do you mean by aggrieved? A party who is suffered, whether it is the buyer or the seller. Let's see. Aggrieved party, that is a suffered party, can sue for damages only. That means if the buyer breaches or the seller breaches, whoever has breached it, the opposite party has been aggrieved about it. That means he suffered about it. Such a suffered party can file only for damages. He cannot ask for recovery of goods. My dear friends, please understand, this is not a sale. This is just an agreement to sell, which means aggrieved party or the suffered party can sue for damages only, not the price, unless the price was to be paid at a stated date. That means what is the case here? The case explains you like this. In case of an agreement to sell, in case there is a breach, the suffered party, that is the aggrieved party, can file only for damages. Forget the price. Price also cannot be recovered back. In sense, for example, if there is a agreement to sell between the buyer and the seller, buyer does not pay the money, seller cannot file a case on the buyer to recover the money. He can file a case for damages. Because, what do you mean by damages? Because the buyer has not adhered to the contract, or the buyer has breached the contract, seller could have undergone a loss. That loss can be recovered. That is called damages. I'll give you a better example. Let's say A, being a seller, entered into an agreement to sell with B, being the buyer, at let's say 100 bags of rice at 100 rupees per kg. Now, buyer breaches the contract for whatsoever reason. He is not paid the price. Seller cannot go and ask the price from the buyer. 100 into 100, 10,000 rupees. 10,000 rupees cannot be asked. What can be done is, if this seller has undergone a loss because of this breach, how do I establish that? Suppose if the seller had to sell the same 100 bags of rice at 90 rupees to someone else, which means there is a loss now. 90 rupees or 100 rupees earlier now has become 90 rupees because there was a breach. So there is a loss of 10 rupees. That loss can be recovered as damages. I hope the example was clear. Continuing further, the agreement to sell, the price, unless the price was to be paid on a stated date. It specifically mentions price if it has to be paid on a specific future date. I have a call, I'll just come back. Sorry about that. I was trying to explain. Aggrieved suffered party can sue for damages only and not the price. However, when the contract itself, that is when the agreement was drafted, at that time only, if you had stated that if the price was not paid on a stated date, then the price can be recovered. In such scenario, yes, price is possible. What I am trying to tell is, recovery of price is not a matter of right. If it is stated specifically that on so and so date, price has to be paid, failure of that date, adhering to payment on that particular date, if that date has missed, then only the question of recovering the price happens. It is not a matter of right to recover the price. Only when the price is mentioned in the agreement to sell, they can be recovered. So it is not by default that you can recover the price. Sorry for the short inconvenience. I am continuing further. Seller, still being the owner, can dispose of the goods as he likes, in which case the buyer can sue only for damages. Now you only use your logic. When the agreement to sell states that in future date that ownership will be transferred, as of today the ownership continues to be with the seller. For whatever practical reasons or whatever known reasons, if the seller sells the goods to some other third party, he has every right to sell because he still continues to be the owner. Yes, there is an element of absurdity or an element of injustice happening to the buyer, for which the law says, please buyer, you can go ahead and sue for damages against the seller, but you have no right to ask for the goods which still belongs to the seller. I hope you got the points relating to agreement to sell. Now one by one, very quickly, we will understand the differences between sale and agreement to sell. Please check. Property passes from the seller to the buyer. Property is not yet passed from the seller to the buyer. Simple. Next, it is an executed contract where consideration is already paid. Here, it is an executory contract where consideration is to be paid in the future date. Next, seller can sue the buyer only for money as the buyer is the new owner. Aggrieved, vis-a-vis that, aggrieved party can sue only for damages and not the price. However, if the price was specifically mentioned to be paid on a specified date and that date has missed, then you can go for price. It is not a straightforward, it's not a rule of thumb that you recover the price straightforward. Next, once the property is passed from the buyer, once the property is passed on, the buyer becomes liable for any subsequent damage or loss in the case of sale. But in the case of agreement to sell, subsequent loss or destruction of goods, seller only is liable, buyer cannot be held liable, as basic point suggests ownership is yet to be transferred. And lastly, in the case of seller breaching the contract, buyer gets two remedies in sale, that is suit for damages and recovery of goods from third party. Unlike that, in agreement to sell, where if the seller being the owner, he chooses to breach also, if he still sells the goods to a third party also, then buyer cannot recover from the third party. At the best, the buyer can only file a case for recovery of damages against the seller. I hope all these points are clear in your mind. In the next session, we will be discussing about different forms of sale versus different forms of transactions, like for example, sale versus hire purchase, etc. Thank you.